Asian Business Aviation Association, ASBA, and she finished her master's in managerial psychology, am I right? In Health University. Alright, so next.
So next we have Encik Muhammad Azlan bin Ahmad, Engineering Coordinator, Satellite Mission Control and Operation, Space Technology Division, Servodynamic Group Berhad. So Encik Azlan is alumni of Unicam Nihat, which was from management course. And together with Encik Azlan, we have Encik Amin Akmal bin Abdul Rahman, Software and System Lead of Rescue Innovation, which also alumni from Bachelor Avionics in Unicam Nihat.
Alright, so without any further ado, kita tak nak cakap banyak, so kita minta our beloved speakers untuk introduce themselves a little bit more. Okay, so maybe dari Miss Aida dulu, boleh kenalkan diri sikit?
Thank you, Sai. Thank you, Akish.
Akif.
Akif.
Alright.
First and foremost, thank you so much to the organizing committee. This is such a wonderful and beautiful event, and I'm honored to be here. I buka ni sekejap, boleh kan? Alright. I have so much to tell you. Kalau I nak cerita 2 hari pun tak habis. So I allow 3 questions. Okay, members of the crowd, you are allowed to ask me 3 questions. This is way much better way of interacting.
Nak tahu pasal more about Miss Aida, boleh tanya?
I hardly do this, okay? I will not open myself to the crowd, but today I'm doing it. So, yes.
Siapa-siapa nak tahu lagi, nak tanya apa-apa tentang Miss Aida dulu, boleh tanya?
Nampak kita ada someone kat belakang. Boleh introduce?
Hi, my name is Asli. I'm taking Bachelor in Avionics, semester 6 right now. So I would like to ask, because just now moderator mentioned about ASPA, mention about ASPA. May I know what is ASPA actually?
Thank you, Azling. ASBA is Asian Business Aviation Association. We take care of business aviation in Asia. We have 6 chapters altogether: China, Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, and Mekong. And I'm also the chapter head for Malaysia. We focus on 3 things: advocacy, representative, and representation, and what is one more? And government liaison. So if we have situation, for example, during COVID-19, it is very difficult for aircraft, for most of the operation, for you to, even for maintenance programs. So what we do, we have multiple engagement meetings, we write letters, and we give recommended solution. We engage so much with the government, asking for special approval, and so that things get done, because no one know our industry requirement, the way of doing things much better than we ourselves. So that is mainly what ASBA is doing. And one very interesting thing, Azling, we have one segment which is focusing on student engagement. We call it ASBA Discovery. For example, recently we brought 58 students from 5 university and institution to KLACC. That is the first time the public allowed to enter that new facility. Why? One of the reasons, because we have a beautiful, fantastic, long-standing relationship with the CEO, Dr. Captain Shasta. Yeah, so this is a little bit of what ASBA is all about. Thank you, Azling.
Alright, maybe you want more questions or we proceed to other speakers' introduction first?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so maybe dari okay, Cik Azlan dulu boleh introduce yourself?
Okay, Mas.
Okay.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good evening everyone. My name is Muhammad Azlan bin Amran. Can call me Azlan, tak payah nak cincin. I think alumni for Unicam Nihat, batch 2016, Aviation Management, Bachelor in Aviation Management. So, I think I will share to you my experience in Unicam first, and maybe some about my working life. So started joining Unicamia in 2016 September batch. So along the way, been doing some, I think, joining some activities in Unicamia, joining the SRCs, events, and many more. So along the way, the the event and the activities make me feel that I need to have some skills when I'm in Unicamia, because when we think ahead, bila kita fikir ke depan, bila kita bekerja nanti, those soft skills and maybe some orang kata the communication skills along the way are needed in the working life. So bersyukur sangat sebab in Unicamia there's many activities being held by the SRCs, the organization and the clubs. So I'm started being in Unicamia for almost 4 years, then joining some company in Aerospace called Tijan Galaxy Aerospace Consortium, TJAC, in Unicamia Subang. So along the way, the company itself is I will not call it like aerospace company, but a space company. And the awareness of people in Malaysia when we talk about space industry, so that's why before I came here, I feel hesitate to come here because my industry right now is a space industry, not aerospace. So I'm trying to relate much of it to aerospace. So maybe you guys, if you guys have any question along the way from my speech or talk, you can ask, because aerospace and space, I think, is a common. It's come from one sources. So joining my TGC in for my internship, then joining Server Dynamic Group. If you guys know about, I think, for Bursa, SC, or Server Dynamic, I think you know what happens in Server Dynamic. So, but Alhamdulillah, my division, the space technology angkasa, is not affected by the rumors or maybe the news about the company financial health. So, I think I will share more about this when the moderator gives some questions about what we are doing in space technology, and I think that's all for me.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Azlan. So how about Mr. Amir? You mind to introduce?
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening. So my name is Amir Ahmad Abdul Rahman. I'm graduate from Unicamia 2018 as a Bachelor of Engineering Technology in Avionics, and now I pursuing my study in Master in Mechanical at UiTM Shah Alam. And for my journey related to aviation, I'm more with the drone company, which means I started with the Aerodyne until now, different company. But my journey starting from the beginning until now is all drone related. So I'm in terms of aviation, the drones are still included in the CM regulation, and I can share a little bit about the drone industry. So I think that's a short briefing from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amir. So as we all know, all of our speakers today is someone with experience in aerospace industry. Just like Mr. Azlan, I would like Mr. Amir to share your experience in your working life.
Okay, so from the beginning, I started as the graduate engineer at Aerodyne, as you know, the top drone company in the world. So I starting as what we call the QAQC engineer, and also the data analyst can be both because it is slightly similar. So along the way, in drone industry, I'm not the drone pilot. I'm the what we call the data analyst. More focusing on the electrical inspection for the TMB, that is for Malaysia, but also I have the client from the Chile, Japan, and also Indonesia. So along the way, I may be focused on the demonstration, but the division I also what we call help assist. It can be also like related to the GIS and also telco, turbine. Turbine is more focusing on the Europe. And then along the way, after everything, I work as the R&D engineer in Dole also at El Cuarto, which is at Ajam. And then short after that, the MCO started. So next, I start working at the Engineering Engineering. Engineering Engineering is also the what we call power line station, but for the SSP. SSP is Sabah Electric Sistem Berhad. And now I'm at Rescue Innovation, more to the system and software, which means I'm more to related to the website for the client. But also at this company, I also do as a Zoom buyer also. And my company is more focusing on the agriculture. So that is what a little bit my journey in the growth related industry.
It is a good experience from your working life. How about Miss Aida? Can you tell us about your experience in working?
Thank you. I think I'm not as young as them, so I have a little bit more working experience. I work in multiple countries all around the world. I started in Malaysia, in Sky Park, and then I moved to Singapore. When I was in Singapore, you know, Malaysia and Singapore, the gap is massive. You know, below my wing, I was an operation manager. I have 150 aircraft below my supervision, 3 hangars. I have my colleagues from all over the world, the Russian, the French, the American, the Filipinos, the Singaporean, 0 Malaysians. And then after spend some time in Singapore, I moved to Dubai. In Dubai, I achieved so much more compared to Singapore. But because of Singapore experience, that's what enabled me to move to Dubai. You know, in Dubai, I'm with this organization called Hadid International Services. Have you heard about it? Thank you. Have you heard about Hadid? Then you are not so much into the industry as yet. This is a 40 years old company that did so much difference in the world. We do so much. I give you one example. During this COVID era, we do massive repatriation flight. You know, the restriction and what's happening all around the world is so difficult, but we make it happen. Okay, so now I am the regional director for Asia, Australia and New Zealand. So what is very interesting in my career, we deal with everything that is flying except drone for now. So we handle the commercial airline aircraft, big giant airlines. I give you one example, that is SQ, Singapore Airlines. We deal with military aircraft, massive operation all around the world, cargo airlines, business jet and medical evacuation flight. We move this aircraft all around the world, make sure that the operation goes smoothly, headache-free, efficiently. It involves so many parties, it involves so many authorities, and we make it happen. I think that is very, very interesting. And my colleague is very diversified. We have people from South Africa, people from America, people from China. So one thing that taught me so much, for you to play in a global international arena, you cannot be the usual you. My career, I achieved what I achieved at this point because there is so much of mindset shift, there is so much that I went through, there is so much price to pay, and I paid them all. I'm very, very proud to say that you know, that kind of company with that kind of status, it's not easy for you to be in there. They're very much performance focused, solution focused. And you know, when you deal, like I'm a woman, I'm an Asian, you know, it is not that easy. But one thing that I learned so important, you need to be the best, knowledgeable, most efficient person in that room. And for you to lead a team, for you to lead certain operations, certain mission, you need to know your stuff very well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is a splendid experience, and also ada sikit kata semangat, kata nasihat untuk semua orang. Be the best version of you. Be the most knowledgeable person in among everyone. Okay, so thank you so much. So Kevin tak nak tahan lagi, so I'll proceed to the next question. So since all of our speakers from a very distinct division in aerospace industry, so I would like to know actually on every section, every sector, what is actually the level of achievement of the industry in Malaysia right now? Maybe you can speak on the general level of achievement of the industry. So maybe, Azlan nak dulu ke? Okay, sure.
Alright, thank you guys. Sorry, before that, I would like to thank you, Mr. Azmin, Sir Azmin, back in my campus, Subang campus life. He's always give us the guidance to help to realize what is a working life needed from us. And thank you Kak Zihar, lama tak jumpa. Selalu saya dengan Kak Zihar, back in my student representative council and committee in Unicel, Kak Zihar banyak tolong disasi in terms of the goals, the missions, and try to be on track. So basically, coming from I think before I give you a story about Malaysian space industry. So Malaysian space industry started from the astronaut program. I think the Angkasawan program, we call Angkasawan because in Malay is Angkasawan, astronaut. So the Angkasawan program started from the offset of Malaysian buying the Sukhoi Su-30 MKM fighter jets that being used by the Royal Malaysian Air Force. And from the offset, the buying of the Sukhoi, Malaysia get the offset of to launch one program for Malaysia that is called Angkasawan astronaut. So when we talk about space industry in Malaysia, I think the history itself, what Malaysians have been achieved in Malaysia, I think there's not much. There's not much to be proud of. That's why in space technology division, I think, and inshallah, our division soon to be, I think, independent. They call AXA. AXA in Malay, all Malay words mean beyond. AXA is jauh. So, inshallah, I think our mission, I love the word mission because in space, it's all about mission, the goals. If you realize and if you follow the SpaceX, the Elon Musk thing, the launch of the Falcon 9 from the Cape Canaveral, it's all about the mission control center. The people that being authorized to help the astronaut or the people that go to the ISS or the space. So when this program Angkasawan started, what is again, I think there is not much that Malaysian people, I think the public, the organization in Malaysia can achieve from what we have been doing. Like we are sending astronaut to the ISS. Maybe we get something like when Sheikh Muzaffar being in ISS International Space Station. I think it's in the Holy Month, the Ramadan. So there's many things that we can achieve that we are getting from the experience from Sheikh Muzaffar. So along the way, there's not much that the organization or the company itself, the private company in Malaysia, that can benefit from the space industry itself. Like what is like the remote sensing from the satellite, the Earth observation. So in space technology, we have like maybe like 4 or 5 pillars. First is the satellite program, then is the spaceport. Spaceport is like the Houston, the Cape Canaveral. Then we have the launch vehicle. Launch vehicle is the rocket. Why we are not using the rocket terms in space industry? Because people normally associate rockets with military, with defense. That's why we are using launch vehicle, because it's like a commercial terms, launch vehicle. And we have the drones is also UAV, like I think Mr. Ahmed knows about the UTM, unmanned traffic management. We are now ventured into that particular area. So we also, in my company, we want to like having the full-fledged ecosystem about space in Malaysia. But before that, we're not having a good like manpower. We don't have the capabilities of the manpower, the technology, I think the environment, the legislative, all the rules and regulations in Malaysia. That's why when the Malaysian space bill being presented in Parliament, if you want nak tahu pasal Malaysian Space Bill 2030, dalam Space Bill tu adalah orang kita telah dinyatakan macam rules and regulation yang perlu ada untuk mewujudkan sistem angkasa ekosistem in Malaysia. So sekarang dah tahun 2022. So Malaysian Space Bill baru saja diluluskan. So I think we are bit backdated compared to other countries. Like I think like the US, the Russian. So we have a very long journey untuk sampai dalam satu kata to make Malaysia be known as Malaysian space like space leaders. So that's why in space technology we are focusing more on the development of the youth. So that's why in my office, most of it are coming from Unikalmian. So there's a mechanical student, avionics. So we all started from our internship days when we are with my boss right now, Mr. Nurazmi. So he's giving us like the insight of space, because Malaysia is known as is located near the equatorial. Equatorial is like the equator line in for Earth. So this is proven geographically suitable for the LV launch vehicle things to launch rocket from equator, because it have the capable effect. Because the nearer you are to the equator, the less or like you can save many fuel to launch rocket into the outer space. So in other things, what we are doing right now is focusing more on the digital rural digital divide. So we are going to Sabah and Sarawak to build to build some, I think, the communication, to strengthen the communication between Sabah and Sarawak in areas that have no lines for telecommunication and no fixed line. So that's why we are deploying satellites, the antenna 1.2 meter at Sabah and Sarawak. So I think I love my job because the management student to go there, because I think in all areas, all expertise, there's always need like the aviation management student, the management student to be there to do their works, to integrate with maybe the engineers or the technical people, so that they achieve what they want to do in their dalam bidang yang diorang nak pergi. So I think that's all for me untuk share my working life. So I think back to moderator.
Alright, thank you so much, Cik Azlan. So actually, Cik Azlan dah jawab the level of achievement on the space punya sector, and also the contribution itself kat community to the society macam tadi cakap. So So saya proceed maybe dengan Amir dulu, Cik Amir dulu. So boleh cerita sikit lebih lanjut what are the level of achievement drone punya sector, UAV punya sector in Malaysia, and also what is their contribution to the society and community.
Okay, back in 2018, that time when was I affected by airline? Actually, I not know. I actually think that drones in Malaysia are more focusing on the agriculture. So when was I affected, so I know that drones can be many things as a tool. So I started as the power line inspection, and also there is also what we call the wind turbine, and also Sandabi, and then we have the deco. So in drone itself, there are many divisions can be used in various industries, small to the inspection. So in terms of level of drone industry in Malaysia, what can I see is the pace is not as fast as the other countries, such as China, because China has the biggest manufacturer, as you know, as the DJI drones, and also they have many other drones like FAG, more specialized in agriculture things. So, but in Malaysia, we are more as a consumer, which means we are using the drone for the things such as the inspection and also such as rescue. But in Malaysia also, we have many what we call the R&D division. They are more focusing on the drone delivery or custom drone, which means that because drones when we bought from the stock such as DJI, they can be used for the certain purpose. So for the example, when we want to inspect the power line TMD, we can use the DJI straight to do the inspection, but for the pipeline, for the petronas, they have need to be customized, so it can be what we call enter the chamber or the pipeline. So in Malaysia also, in terms of the regulation, as you know now, the CM is having the drone pilot certificate as known as the RCOCB, and for the your what we call knowledge, I'm also the top 20 RCOCB holder, which means I'm also the certified drone pilot. For the drone pilot itself, in other countries such as the Australia, they have so many Malaysians have the remote pilot for the drones. But now in Malaysia, they are still having right now, and they're more focusing on the what we call the multi-copter for the basic only. And for drone itself, as we know, we have the three types, which is the multi-copter and the fixed wing and also VTOL. So now Malaysia more focusing on the multi-copter. So but what we can see now, the drones in Malaysia is keep growing because for the society itself, such as when the pandemic, they are using the drones at the surveillance, and during the last December when the flight at the Pahang, they are using for the social rescue also. So the drone itself can do many things, and it's up to us what we want to do with them. So
Alright, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, amazing. So from Miss Aida, so we can tell us on a whole for the level achievement for aerospace industry in Malaysia, and also the contribution to the society and community.
Thank you, Joy. So, alright, one thing that I think that is significant and very good, one, aerospace industry provide employment for our people, isn't it? Betul tak? Betul tak? Do you think you want to be in aviation or aerospace industry working? Yes? Okay. So one, there is employment. Number two, because of whatever that we are achieving in here, thank you to Serba Dynamic, Malaysia is now put on aerospace map. Nobody know us as much as today. Serba Dynamic, because of whatever activity that they are putting now, the rocket, the satellite that they're all going to launch, make Elon Musk look at us. Hey Malaysia, you're gonna have your own satellite. Am I right? So that is something very, very important, not only for our people, but also for our country. we do not want to be seen like a third world country that, you know, some of my friends that never been to Malaysia, they still think that we have people living on a tree. Aviation, aerospace industry changed that perspective and thinking. Okay, and then if you look at the technology, whatever latest technology on earth, it will be put into aerospace first for whatever it is. This is one of the most demanding, accurate, actually it is a very fast moving technology, keep on changing, but like what Azlan is saying, in Malaysia is a bit slow, but nevertheless we are still progressing, so that is good. And if you look at how the world look at one country, there is a couple of industry that will determine your status on earth. One of the industry is aerospace. They do not look at F&B, okay? They do not look at, you know, other industry, but aerospace is one of the benchmark. The more satellite that you put up there, the more sophisticated, the more advanced you are, because this satellite, this technology can do wonders and magic that many couldn't. Am I right? Betul tak? Setuju tak? So you realize how important is the aerospace industry, not only to the mankind, to people like us, we get involved directly in the industry, but also to the entire country. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Ms. Aida. So I have a question for Mr. Azlan and Mr. Amir. So based on the level of aerospace and space in Malaysia, can you tell us what type of technology does the industry currently use for space and aerospace?
Thank you. So in Malaysia, I think the application of the technology, the easiest way to know what is the application of the technology in space that you're using right now is the WIS. WIS is using the light MEO is the medium Earth orbit, located in the maybe 37,000 kilometers along the way. So they are using the navigation satellite. So that's why you can use WIS and maybe Google Maps right now. So the application that are coming from the space assets for the public, for the people to use, I think the most of it comes from the satellite industry. So in satellite, there are many satellites. They are located in the LEO, MEO, and the GEO. So you can Google it after this. The communication satellites, they are used by the Elon Musk, the Starlink constellation, where they are having constellation. Constellation is like making many satellites in one layer of the Earth orbit, located at the LEO, low orbit. So they are using for satellite for communication, especially for high-speed internet, and maybe for geo satellites they are using for the communication that like you are using right now for the phone, and besides of that, for the rocket stuff, the launch vehicles that being launched to space, that is I think crucial for many industries in the world, to especially for new satellites that need to be need to be orbit into the space. So, and I think the awareness of maybe like in Malaysian agency itself, this Malaysian Space Agency, MISA, and the remote sensing agencies in Malaysia, they are not keen. I think they are not maybe interested enough to bring back the technology that are being used by the other countries to Malaysia. I'm not saying that these agencies, the Malaysian space agencies and the the remote sensing are not helping the industry in Malaysia, but I think they want to build everything from zero. Malaysia, we don't have that capability and time to make something from zero. I think from satellite industry, like currently my company Sebadynamic, we want to launch a micro geo satellite. I think maybe like 3 or 4 years ahead, because we know the demand for communication satellite, especially in Malaysia. For your information, for every country in the world, they have been designated at least a certain amount of the slots for certain countries. Like Malaysia, we have 13 slots for GEO. GEO is the geostationary orbit satellite, located I think 38,000 kilometers from Earth's surface. So the slots is not being utilized. So why it's not being utilized? It's not you're not going to give back to your country if you're not utilizing the slot. So in terms of technology, I think for the rockets, Malaysia is not part of the Missiles Treaty Control Regime (MTCR). So we cannot export or import other technologies for rockets to Malaysia because we're not part of the treaty. So in terms of doing that, we need to have like maybe other companies that being located or being designed in other countries to bring back that technology to Malaysia. And I think for drone industries, the UAVs. Recently, I've been going to Defense Secretariat DC at ITEC. So we can see that Malaysia, in terms of the procurement of the UAVs for the militaries, for the tech, for defense industry, Malaysia also, I think is going to be a good start for Malaysia, because like Turkey is I think Malaysian most I think in terms of industry in military, Malaysia wants to have like a Turkey company in Malaysia, because the technology for Turkey they are being used by many countries, like for the UAV, the Bayraktar TB2 for the Mali. Mali is the medium altitude low endurance type of UAVs. There's many types of UAVs in the world. So the procurement of that UAVs to Malaysia defense is good for recon, for surveillance, for I think for many things they are needed. And I think yes, like I love the way Mr. Amir talk about Malaysia being the consumer for many technologies, but sampai bila kita nak jadi consumer saja, tapi sampai bila kita nak try to elevate ourselves, the Malaysian, to be the producer of the technology itself, for the UAVs, for the satellites. That's why yes, memang kita akan mula from zero, maybe not from zero, but slowly coming to that extent that we can build the things ourselves. Like for like our company is doing right now, we are launching the geostationary satellite, but in Malaysia, we don't have any expertise on that. But in a way that we want to learn, we need to have someone dedicated for that mission. So we can produce like maybe 2 or 3 people going to, I don't want to say the country, I don't want to say the company, but going to Switzerland, our satellite manufacturer, going to Swiss, learning how to make the satellite from many parts, for the thrust, for the payload itself. So we can start with that. So when those people coming to Malaysia, they can share their experience on doing the hands-on on the satellite and give back to the youth in Malaysia. So we start growing the manpower capital for the development of the satellite. So I think it's not possible for Malaysia as long as the people or the public realize what we want to be, what we want to be proud of Malaysia. recently, saya masih ingat lagi masa saya intern, there's one question coming from my boss right now. Dia tanya, Azlan, apa yang kamu banggakan dengan Malaysia sekarang? Saya terdiam. Sebab apa? There's nothing more that we can be proud of. Dulu kita boleh cakap, we can say that we have the KLCC, we have the Sepang International Circle, we have the Darah Kuala Lumpur. So now apa yang kita ada? Can someone from the crowd tanya apa yang kita ada sekarang? What can you be proud of Malaysia right now? Ada tak? Ada tak? Tak ada. Dah sebut KLCC yang dah kita dah berapa lama dah? Saya ada, tak ada kan? That's why from the industry perspective, we need to elevate Malaysia. We need to elevate ourselves. Coming from aerospace, from space, the technologies that we want to make Malaysia proud. Kita kena ada benda tu. That's why my boss always said that it doesn't matter how many times kita gagal, there's many challenges yang kita ada. Yang penting the missions yang kita nak bawa tu mesti ada. Macam sekarang, there's many challenges. Lagi-lagi coming from the aviation management student, the management background. Apa yang what I've learned in my university life, the management, even ada kena sikit dengan space sekarang. Tapi sekarang I'm doing more technical works. Bila pergi site, kena pasang satellite antenna. So, and I think I love engineering right now. So that's why I think I want to pursue my master in engineering. So kita tahu kita punya, orang kata, jalan hidup kita tahu. Even though you are coming from management students, right now you are doing technical works. Maybe from your university life, you are from engineering background, then you go to management company, we don't know. So that's why everything you do, you need to have the power, the will to change the people, to change the system, to change the government, to change the organization that you are working on, the culture. So everything in Malaysia is all about culture, and I think I don't want to say about the government. So everything started from there. So everything you do, all industries, especially the aerospace and the space, need to be par with other countries starting from now. Even though we are slow from that angle of the technology, even though we are only the consumers of technology, but it's okay. Because bila lama kita jadi negara consumer, we can do the reverse engineering. We can all those equipments, all the technologies, we can reverse engineer back to have it ourselves. So I think that's all from me. Back to Kai.
Okay, thank you so much. Produce things, right? Kita perlu buat benda baru and stuff. So, Mr. Amir, can you tell more about the technology currently used in industry?
Okay, as we mentioned previously, from me and Mr. Azlan, in industry, we are more like the consumer itself. But in terms of the technology, because in Malaysia, we have actually many drones company. But what makes it different is related to the operation, how we deliver and we accomplish the mission itself. So for the drone technology, it may be more focusing on the IT itself, which means there is more related to the AI, artificial intelligence. So as far as we know, the artificial intelligence in Malaysia is also can be seen. It may be a little bit outdated, but it's still more progressing and can be done better. So for drones, what the AI can be done. So for the example, I will give you the example. So for the Petronas itself, so the Petronas, they want to do the surveillance. Surveillance, which means they want to investigate which the workers are wearing the PPE or not. So by using the drone itself, Phantom 4, and integrate with the AI, that we monitor using the laptop, which in the real time. So the drone itself capture the real time surveillance, and then the AI, with the AI, it can be detected automatically, which means which have the wearing the PPE or which not. So in the what we call the patronage test in oil and gas industry is compulsory to wear the PPE. And then for the what we call in the agriculture side for the tendering project, which means they have so many acres of the what we call the palm oil plantation. So they want to know how many plants they have. So with the help of the AI itself, it can be counted the trees. Previously, we have to counter manually. Yes, manual process. And also for the installation for the power line, they have the AI, which means can auto detect which power line is repaired or not. So for the Malaysia, in terms of what we call consumer, they more focusing on the AI itself and also how they deliver by using the website. Because previously for the TMB and FSP, which is I'm focusing more, when we want to deliver the report, we have to print it out. Yes, print it out using the paper. But now everything can be accessible by using the online. So that is for the operation. And then in terms of the technology of the drone, this is not being achieved, but they have one company. They are what we call investing on the hydrogen power to be implemented to the drone itself. And their mission is now want to the drone itself can travel from the Johor to the Sarawak, which is how many kilometers itself. So they want to achieve that. So because in Malaysia everything is in drone itself. What we those company manufacture everything, they want to have the better between the flight time. Between how many drones can be fly more, so it can use the what we call cost and the Malaysia itself is all regulation as so they are now starting using the UTM unmanned. So maybe for the next year, we can see that every drone has their own flight radar. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Encik Amir and Encik Azlan. Okay, little did we know about aerospace industry has covered a lot of things, just like Mr. Azlan said about the waste and about the drones, and for sure this is a new knowledge for me and for sure for us. So, Miss Aida, do you have something that who has been in a long time with the aerospace industry?
Say it again?
Someone who is experienced in the aerospace industry. Can you add on a bit about the technology that we use,
All right, thank you so much. But before that, I must ask this question. Audience, how are you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Are you all right? Yes. I can see somebody is sleeping. Fasting must not be an excuse for us to be weak. Okay? And, moderator, allow me to do something.
Sure.
Okay, I have this aircraft pin. This is Falcon 6X, one of the best in its category. So, ask us question. I'm going to give away this one for free today. Okay? And, janganlah tidur. I tahulah kita semua lapar kan? Boleh tak?
Any questions? Tak ada, saya tanya.
Okay, kalau Kai tanya, so Kai akan dapat this. You tahu tak? You can never ever buy this outside. Never. Falcon will not ever give you this unless you buy the jet. Go ahead, Kai.
Okay. Alright. But I have a lot of
This is for you.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So, do you want to answer first the question just now?
Okay. Yeah, there is so many technology. You know, our industry is one of the most advanced industry. Okay, now that most of the OEM are working on the hydrogen fuel. Do you know how powerful is the hydrogen? Yes? No? Alah, you all tidur lagi ke? Kalau yang tidur tu bangunlah. Okay, hydrogen fuel actually is 2.8 more efficient, more powerful than the current jet fuel. So Boeing, Airbus, Bombardier, all of us are working on that technology. And then if you see most of the jet nowadays, they are very, very, very intelligent. Very intelligent. You name it, whatever about technology on earth, be it what. For example, AI. Okay, I really try to engage this with you. I really try to connect whatever that I'm sharing with you. I wish one of these days you are able to enter cockpit. How many of you been to the cockpit? Wow, 100%. That's good. So you know most of them. The configuration for the business jet and the commercial airline or military transporter is a little bit different. However, most of the major components are the same. But if you look at business jet, for example, the fastest, one of the largest on earth today